A browser is how you view the internet. It's how you view websites, web pages. It's how you explore Facebook and Google. It's probably how you're viewing this video right now. And there are dozens, if not hundreds, of different browsers out there, but really there are 6 primary browsers. Now going from left to right, we have Microsoft Internet Explorer, Microsoft's new version of Internet Explorer called Edge. Then we have Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Apple Safari, and Opera. Now by far the most popular browser on the internet is Google Chrome. Second place tends to be Firefox. Third place tends to be Safari, then Internet Explorer, and Edge and Opera are, those percentages are so low it doesn't really matter at this point in time. Now Edge might be more popular in the future. It's relatively new. Came out with Windows 10. But to date, about half of everybody in the world uses Google Chrome. Now, as a web developer, the browser does matter. Each browser manages HTML, CSS, and JavaScript just a little bit differently. Each one has their own set of rules which they want to comply with, and there tends to be a standard behind them, but the standards are a little bit older. For example, if you wanted to make something bold, you'd use the same HTML bold tag in all the browsers because that's an older element. But as of right now, if you wanted to create a canvas, and that's an HTML5 element, which we'll talk about in the future, old versions of these browsers will not handle that. So you'll always want to have your browser updated. As a web developer, you will guaranteed run into a problem where one of your users or one of your paying customers cannot use your website because something's not working. Chances are JavaScript is turned off, or they're using Internet Explorer 6 instead of Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer, whatever the latest version is. Perhaps they're using a very old laptop and it's running an old version of Safari. Well, the difference between, for example, Google Chrome 1 and Google Chrome 42 is significant. And as technology evolves, the browser evolves as well. And as the browser evolves, that means we have access to better functions, better features, better animations, and more elements become standardized. So just note that moving forward, eventually this problem will happen to you. It happens to every single one of us. And that the browser that someone is using plays an important role. Most developers dislike building for Internet Explorer because Internet Explorer likes to play with different rules than everybody else, whereas everybody else kind of gets along to some degree. So when you're building a website, whether you're using just HTML or a series of different languages, you're going to want to test out your pages on all the different browsers that you can. Shoot for 6 out of 6 browsers, test your website in Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Safari, as well as Opera, and see if it works the way that you want it to. Every now and then you'll stumble on a particular element that doesn't work the way that it's supposed to, and that becomes a big problem. And then you'll have to work around that. If you build a site or a service or an application, and it works on all 6 of these browsers, chances are that when someone comes up to you and says, hey, your site doesn't work for me, it's probably because they're using an old version of their browser, or they have JavaScript turned off. We'll talk more about JavaScript in the future, but right now we're just going to stick with HTML. And to view any HTML, we need one of these 6 browsers. Now, I prefer Chrome. Many people prefer Firefox. And a lot of Mac users will stick with Safari. Those tend to be the big 3 in that order. Your task for this video is to download and install all 6 of these browsers. Now, depending on your computer, all 6 may not be available to you, so try to get as many as you can. As a bare minimum, try to get Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, and Opera. If you can't get Microsoft Edge because you're on an older Mac or an older Windows system, that's fine. But download and install as many as you can.